What's up, ballers? Jacob here with AllDriveNoDrop, talking about the 11Six24 Power Series, but specifically today we're doing it a little bit different. There's going to be a ton of people talking about the whole lineup, so if you're looking for the other shapes and you want more details on those, go check it out. There's going to be hundreds of videos. Today we're doing a review on the Vapor specifically, and then we are going to do a little bit of a paddle battle as well against the Spartus Olympus, because that finished 2024 as my main, and this is going to be a big competitor to that. So we're just going to get straight into it and see which one, comes out on top, and which one's right for you. So this is specifically focused on the 11Six24 Power Vapor today, with a paddle battle thrown in. We're doing stuff different. I'm throwing it out there. Let's see if you guys like it. We'll see and get into it. $169.99 goes down to $159.99 with code AllDriveNoDrop. This is going to be one of the best priced power paddles on the market. Yes, it is a power paddle. I'll give a little teaser. So what I want to do is get into the construction and the specs of all this, how it's created, and then I want to get into a little bit of gameplay thoughts and performance thoughts on this, and then get into that comparison to the Spartus Olympus and how those stats stack up. So let's get into the construction and specs and talk about that first. Okay, so this is what most people would think of as a Gen 3 constructed paddle. It has the floating polypropylene core with the EVA foam ring going all the way around, and so with that you are getting a great power boost from it. And the great thing about this is haven't experienced really a break-in period, so right out of the box playing good, not going to change over time. That's awesome. So let's break down the specs here. So for this is for the Vapor Power, all the three paddles. So they have a wide body, which is called the Pegasus, and they have an elongated called the Hirachi X as well. All the same price, all built the same, just different dimensions. So this one, the Vapor Power, is a hybrid shape. The facing is carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber. So you get a little bit of a boost with that fiberglass as well as the foam in the core. 16mm core. Weight ranges from 8 to 8.3 ounces. Mine came in at 8.2. Really good handle length of 5.75 inches for all those two-handed backhands. Grip circumference of 4.125, a good narrow grip that you can build up or keep stock. Swing weight range, 113 to 117. Mine came in at 116. On the higher end, I guess, for hybrid swing weight ranges, but that just kind of makes it play a lot better stock. And then a twist weight of 7.05. So let's just talk about the gameplay first. So we'll jump into the gameplay now and talk about the performance on the court, and then I'll break it down next to the Spartus. Okay, so the Vapor Power performs very, very well on the court. So when you think about it, you're like Gen 3, everyone thinks about, the YOLO 3S. So it does have a similar sound when you on those bigger strokes. It gets really loud. I had quite a few people, like what was that? What was that sound? When I'm hitting some harder drives or harder overheads, you can definitely hear that Gen 3 like boom. Anyway, sound aside, it is a little bit denser. So when I'm just going to compare this to the Gen 3S in general, it is a little bit denser. So the Gen 3S feels a little bit more hollow, and this is a little less stiff than the Gen 3S. Not that the Gen 3S is super stiff, but it's a little less stiff than that. And it has a little bit bigger of a sweet spot. So that's just an overall feel comparison to the 3S. Now let's just talk about how the Vapor performs on the court. So it has a pretty good pop level, but a more manageable pop than the 3S and the Olympus, and we'll talk more about in the comparison. So the pop is pretty good. It is not a uncontrollable pop, so still have that help on those resets, especially from the mid-court, getting the ball back over, but you have a little bit more touch around the kitchen. It's not going to be like a all-court, control paddle touch, but still pretty good touch around the kitchen with your dinking. And then your drops, I think this is a pretty optimal pop level for the drops because it's not popping off the face too fast. It has a pretty decent dwell time, not not like the most extreme dwell time, but I would say above average dwell time on there. So with that good feel, a little bit above average dwell time really helps place the control with this ball on those drops. And then now we start getting into those bigger shots on those drives and serves. That's really where you access the power on this paddle. And being a little bit above average swing weight on for a hybrid stock, it really helps get you access to that power faster than some other paddles. So definitely keeping my serves pretty deep, without too much effort on this paddle, and really getting big drives when you wind up and put some effort into there. That's where this paddle really shines. If you are someone that has a big drive, or you need help with the big drive, this paddle shines a lot there. And then it has access to really good spin. So you combo that really good spin with the big power, you're getting the balls to dip, and they're going by fast. That's where this paddle really shines. And it still has pretty good touch for a power paddle. It's not as hard to control as a Paddle Tech Bantam series or the O3S or the never to be seen again, possibly Ripple. Anyway, that's kind of the main thoughts on this paddle. Definitely plays for an aggressive play style or someone that just wants access to more power that they can't generate on their own. Let's go jump in to the paddle battle portion of this review. Let's talk about the weight setup real quick, because for the Olympus, I have pretty aggressive weight setup on it. And the Vapor Power, I would say you could play it stock, and I'm not 100% sure if I even want to stick with my weight setup or if I just want to play it stock. But I've been using a 4-gram strip of tungsten tape that is 0.5 grams per inch, just at the bottom corners, going up, kind of ends at the 2 in the 11Six24. So I've been using that. I've been happy with it. Don't know if it needs it, but I like a little extra weight, kind of get it up a little bit, try to keep all my paddles around, the same swing weight, try to get it to like that 118, 120 range, and this doesn't even do that, but it already is kind of like a little head heavy-ish, so don't want to add too much weight there, and it really doesn't need it for stability reasons. Even power is already good, so just kind of more of a feel thing for me. The Spartus Olympus, this one really benefits from the weight, so I use 9 inches going from the handle, going all the way up to the S of 0.5 gram per inch tungsten tape. And if you need tungsten tape, got it down in the description if you're looking to get it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this setup on the Olympus. Sold on that for sure. So those are my setups. I really do think on the Vapor, though, you could play it stock, no problem. I would start off stock and then kind of feel what you need to adjust from there. Let's just go into the comparisons now. This has already been kind of like the most common question I've been getting, just because people know I have been maining the Spartus Olympus for a while, and they're like, how does it compare to this 11Six24 Vapor Power? Well, it's been the first hybrid that made me really pause and be like, is this better for me? So let's talk about it. I'm gonna break down some stats real quick, just to give you a comparison, not just on some playability, but also price and dimensions here. So let's start off with the weight. About the same average weight there, as you can see, so not much difference there. Swing weight is where we really start to come into. So the Olympus has that average of 110 swing weight. Vapor Power will say a 115 average swing weight. So maneuverability is the first point of difference here. The Olympus is a lot more maneuverable than the Vapor Power, and you can kind of see that too. Let's show you right there. The shape gets a little bit wider towards the top on the Power, and the Olympus kind of keeps that narrow profile. So that is one area that the Olympus is a little better in. But then we get to the twist weight, and I didn't really talk much about this in the performance, but this is where the Vapor Power outclasses the Olympus, and it's just the truth. The stability is just so much better on the Vapor Power. This thing is just even, the big difference here is stock. That twist weight is higher, and it really does play like that. The sweet spot is bigger than the Olympus. It's wider. It has a little bit more sweet spot towards the top, and then it's just so much more stable when you're blocking these hard drives. and that's really where it shines. So if you're a big Olympus player, but you're like, it's not stable enough for me, and you didn't want to add weight, then the Vapor Power is going to shine there. Grip circumference, Olympus has a little bit of a thicker grip there. Handle length, here you can see the handle length there. You do have a little bit more length on the Vapor Power, so keep that in mind right there. And then the cores, you got a 14 millimeter core on the Olympus with their Ascension core, which is, you know, the polypropylene cells filled with foam. And then you have the floating core with the Vapor Power. And then the dimensions, the Olympus is a little bit longer and a little bit more narrow than the Vapor Power. I would say that it doesn't seem to make too much difference on the court for me. I felt like the sweet spot was in a similar space. You just get a little bit wider and a little bit longer on the Vapor Power. And then the price, $180 is the price on the Spartus Olympus after a code, and then the Vapor Power comes down to $159.99. So you got a $20 price difference there. And now let's get into the power, pop, and spin comparison. So the Olympus is a little less powerful than the Vapor Power. So, and then the Olympus has more pop than the Vapor Power. So how I'd explain this is on those counter punches, you're definitely going to notice the Olympus having more juice. And then as we start getting swinging, and then as we get into our like swinging volleys, going into, you know, some drives or serves and overheads, that's when you're going to start to feel that the Vapor Power has a little bit more juice, and you can feel, you know, that you can feel more activation from the fiberglass and that floating core give you that extra power. So you get a little bit more of that. It's, you know, it's kind of like a linear power curve on the Vapor Power until you start really leaning into it, and then you get a little bit more exponential power. Whereas the Olympus, you're getting a lot more juice off the face, and you still do have good top end power with the Olympus stock. It's just you have to add weight to really access more of the power on the Olympus, and that's kind of the main difference there, is the Vapor Power already has access to that top end elite power when with the stock build. And then I would say the Vapor Power is easier to control. So I would say the Vapor Power is probably going to be easier stock to control for most people in general. And then spin, really both get great spin, about the same spin. And I would say that the Vapor Power gets a little bit more dwell time than the Olympus. So that's my main comparison between the two. I would say that they both have a denser feeling, you know, because of their cores, and then they both have pretty good off-center sweet spot feel. It's not too harsh with the vibrations. You just get a little bit more of a sweet spot with the Vapor Power overall. So that's my comparison between the two. So if you're looking for something that is super maneuverable and has that higher end pop, then that's where you go with the Spartus Olympus. If you're like, hey, I want to focus more on that higher end power, I want something that plays better stock and has more control and has that wider and longer sweet spot, then that's where you're going to go with the Vapor Power. So am I making the switch? I did play with the Vapor Power in my last tournament, and I did really enjoy it. So I could play with either, but I probably am leaning a little bit more of the Vapor Power just for that added power boost and added control. It just does help me. If I'm feeling like my hands are slower, then I'd probably go with the Spartus Olympus. But that is my overall comparison of the two and my review of the Vapor Power. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really do recommend the Vapor Power, and I'm going to do a similar series. I'll probably do one with the 11Six24 Power Huarache X compared to the Project Flamingo, and then we'll see what we do with the Pegasus Power. But these are all on sale February 7th at 12 p.m. Eastern. If I'm wrong about the time, I will change it in the description. But thank you very much. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the experience. Help support the channel, like the video, and everyone, as always, you know, go out, play some pickleball, have a great day, stay warm if you are in those ice storms. Thank you.